Chair, thank you. Members of the committee, you have before you a bill that has, in the end, both fiscally and within the judicial process, probably very little impact. We're not talking about a very large group of folks who are going to fall into the changes in this bill, but we think it's important. And what we're talking about is athletic coaches who are involved in inappropriate sexual contact with their athletes. This came to my attention because of a constituent, Ray Thomas, who educated me about the fact that one could be involved in an incident like this and not get any jail time. So after some long conversations, what we decided to do was to craft a bill that would focus on just that this is such a meaningful and egregious crime for the person that it happens to. And it is such a specific betrayal of trust because of the relationship that athletic coaches have with their athletes, and Ray's going to talk about that it's important that there be a presumption of some actual jail time. So, and others will talk about it, but we're talking about a minimum of 16 months. I had passed out to the committee just a basic LexisNexis search of cases that involve coaches and athletes. And just to be clear, in many of these cases, the crime is sufficiently severe enough that there will be jail time involved in these charges. I'm not passing these out as cases in which the person isn't likely to get jail time, but more just to give the idea of the fact that this has become, unfortunately, while not a pervasive crime, it happens with some regularity. And the thing about this crime is it always gets attention, and I think for good reason, because it is such a serious violation of trust. So I hope that the members of the committee will give this bill some very serious attention. One of the more recent ones just this week. I mean, I certainly didn't plan any of the news events, but as those of you who've been following it know that unfortunately, with some regularity, we are having to deal with this issue of athletic coaches and their athletes. And I think it's important that as a legislature, we send a very strong message about how we feel about this, and that we get in front of it before it does become something that happens too frequently. And I'll turn it over to Ray to tell his story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, and ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ray Thomas. I live at 37395 Southwest Blooming Fern Hill Road in Cornelius, Oregon. I'm one of Representative Wingard's constituents. I hope that you never have to appear here to talk about something that is as personal to you and your family as what brings me here. But last summer, my 14-year-old had been honored by having been selected for training by an elite track coach named Askia Brown in Portland, who was a track coach with Central Catholic High School and with the Portland Track Club. When that happened, our family was honored that he would think that she had sufficient talent to merit that type of attention at that level. But before we allowed her to become one of his track athletes, we checked him out on Google, we talked to other track parents, and I interviewed him. And he seemed to be somebody who was basically at the top of the track prep scene in Oregon. 3 weeks into this coaching, and as part of a workout, he told my daughter that she needed to have a post-workout massage to make it so that she would have the maximum impact of the workout. And what happened was that he sexually abused her when this supposed sports massage occurred. He was taken into custody, and the case that resulted in sex abuse 2 and 3 charges was covered by the Portland Press. And several other athletes who had been coached by this guy came forward and described their experiences with him, which were somewhat along the same lines. 2 athletes came forward and also leveled similar charges against him, and he's now facing 3 charges of sex abuse 2 and 3 in Multnomah County Circuit Court. And the reason that I'm here today is that after these charges were initiated, I found out that under Oregon's sentencing structure, he is going to get, even if he's convicted of all of 3 of these, against these 3 girls and their families, a presumptive sentence of probation. And having gone through this, experienced this firsthand, I can tell you that a coach is in a special position relative to their athletes. How often do you parents allow your kids to go into the company of some adult where you look on approvingly when the adult yells at them, pushes them beyond their limits? And for a young athlete who's in a coach-athlete relationship, one of the first stages of really becoming an excellent athlete is to trust your coach to do for you what you need to do, even if it involves pain, to make yourself the best athletic performer that you can. And when that trust is violated, I can tell you that the effect upon the athlete is devastating. And so I felt like these, because of the way the Oregon statutory structure works, these charges of sex abuse 2 and 3, a Class C felony and a Class A misdemeanor, when you look at what the end result is, and Darian Stan from the Multnomah DA's office is going to show you how it works out with the sentencing standards, the fact is that it is not a fair result where somebody who's given this level of trust can go through and conduct the type of damage that was put upon my daughter, these other athletes, and these other athletes that you've learned about in the packets, and walk through this experience with a probation sentence. And I feel that if this legislature passes these enhanced sentences, we're not talking about a great number of people who are going to be entering the system with a costly disposition. But what we are going to do is to send a message to the schools, to the athletes, to the coaches, so that in their continuing education, what they're going to learn about is that there is a special recognition of that position of responsibility by coaches, and that if they cross the line, they're going to get hammered for it. And if somebody does do it, so that it's not a situation where they can do something like this and commit this type of a despicable act upon a impressionable young person and get a sentence of probation for it. So I appreciate it if you would take a serious look at this and help, if you think it's the right thing, to make it into Oregon law. Thank you.